So good day everyone, I am Jade Andro Padullon and I am here again with another video. Last time I talked about the life and biography of Rizal, and we have learned all about his sufferings and love for his country, which ultimately led to his demise in December 30, 1896. Today I will be discussing the philosophical standing of Rizal, focusing on his economic conviction. Our country was colonized for 333 years by Spain. Dr. Jose Rizal witnessed the hardships that the Filipino people had experienced during the Spanish rule. He understood the difficulty of life and the lack of freedom during this time. At a young age, Rizal was able to understand how difficult the economic standing of the Filipinos, and one of the reasons that he thinks why that is happening is because of the encomienda system. This economic system was implemented in 1570 by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi following the decree issued by Philip II of Spain. This was a formal system where indigenous leaders of the Philippines were forced to pay tributes of food, minerals, or providing laborers. This system was envisioned as a mutual obligation between indigenous people and the Spaniards. Rizal believed that because of this economic system, that the Filipino people became lazy and even learned gambling, which made them poor. He wanted this system to be abolished as it is a way for the Fries to be corrupt and control the life of the Filipinos. He fought for equal distribution of wealth between the Filipinos and the Spaniards. Rizal believed that the task of the Spaniards is to educate and improve the lives of the Filipino people. But what they have done is completely the opposite. Filipinos instead faced discrimination and oppression and was even forced out of their lands because of the encomienda system. This made a lot of them struggle and were even forced to become slaves, which were back then called polo servicio, which means forced labor. It is where the Filipinos were forced to work with just 1 peso as a salary or nothing at all. This situation made it difficult for the Filipinos to improve their life standard and even provide for their own family. The time of the Spaniards, I can say, is one of the darkest part of our history economically. The Filipinos have been fully oppressed, and there are some instances where the small-time Filipino businessmen are forced to shut down their business because they are pressured by the union of the Spaniards. As of now, we are struggling economically as we are in a pandemic. The pandemic affected the economic aspect of several communities, and a lot of people don't have work, and there was an insufficiency of food and daily necessities. We might be struggling right now economically, but it doesn't match up to what Rizal had seen and what our ancestors experienced. We can recover from this later on as the pandemic will surely be purged, and we can still be optimistic as we are liberated and have the freedom to have our own businesses without someone or a group oppressing us and putting us in a tight situation where we are forced to give up. The economic status or the economic system during the Spanish colonialism, which can be considered the worst thing in the history of the Philippines economically, may have also helped us develop into what we are right now. It was a very difficult situation, but it taught our ancestors and even us that greed puts nothing but chaos on the table, and the most important thing that our country needed at that time is a big change where everyone has the freedom to find jobs. Establishing businesses and other economic aspects by which help improve the economy of our country. We were able to establish our government through the establishment of the Commonwealth government, which helped stabilize the country and greatly impacted the economy as it was handled properly. There was even a time in the 1950s where the Philippines entered the era of industrialization, which helped the country greatly as it provided more opportunities for the Filipino people, and the country was even known to be one of the fastest developing countries at that time. What happened during the Spanish colonial rule served as a lesson for us and made us stronger and bolder as time passed. What we have learned from our history, especially about the economic conviction of Rizal, was very useful to all of us. We were able to take a full grasp of what was happening during that time and was able to adapt to it and use it to improve the economic system that we have today. As of now, everyone has the right to establish or make their own businesses, which allows us to grow as a nation. It trained us a lot, which helped greatly and can be considered where our country has much better economic status than those during the Spanish rule. Inequality in the distribution of wealth was very rampant, and the encomienda system made the Filipino poorer and some become slaves. the Filipinos were stripped of their land and were forced to become laborers or tenants. The Filipinos were having a difficult time providing for their families, as even the small businesses that they established were oppressed by the Spaniards or the friars. This moment in our history is very bad, but it helped shape the economic situation in our country today. We have our freedom and rights to earn and establish our own businesses, and there is equality and fairness. It is just up to our fellow Filipino to find ways or opportunities to improve their way of living. Rizal also did his best to help the country by establishing the La Liga Filipina and him working hard so that we could be recognized as equals by the Spaniards. This was proven when Rizal immediately went home to the Philippines after finding out that Governor General Eulogio Despohol Idusay sent back to Spain the corrupt officials, which unfortunately led to his capture. Overall, Rizal's economic conviction speaks about the struggles of the Filipino face and how hard life was during that time. It speaks about his optimistic goal of abolishing the Alcamienda system, which he believed was the reason the Filipinos became lazy and addicted to gambling. It also made life more difficult for the Filipino people. Though Rizal was not successful in his campaign about abolishing it, the system later came to an end after Spain was defeated, ending the 330 years of colonization. The struggles they have experienced became a stepping stone to establishing a better economy and remove the struggles that the Filipino people were experiencing at that time. It inspired us to become a better country by giving freedom to the Filipino people to establish their own businesses, and the land that was then occupied by the Spaniards was given back to the farmers, who later produced magnificent crops. The experience of our country has gone through made us stronger, better, and smarter. That's it for today's vlog. See you on the next, and have a nice day.